Sky Howdy, and welcome back to another episode of World Bigfoot Radio. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Today, as you can see, we have the effervescent, vivacious, informational, and exceptionally entertaining Sarah Bignell with us again for the second time by viewer request. No, quit sending me threatening letters because she's back on the show. Before we get into that, everybody, thank you for all your support. Thanks for being around here during the holiday season and paying attention to what was going on. I really appreciate it. Made it through the holidays. Some updates on my stolen camper. I am having negotiations with the people that actually own the property, who were very much in the legal sense responsible for something being stolen off the property. And they are going to cave. So there's some good news. I'll give you more updates on that later. In the meantime, don't forget to hit the like button. Leave a comment after the show. If you're watching this on a cell phone, hit hype. If you feel like you actually enjoy these shows and you want me to keep doing them, YouTube doesn't pay me doodly. I couldn't feed a chicken on what I get from those guys. So seriously consider giving some additional help. A live link to the PayPal is in the description below. And now back to the main topic, which is, of course, having Sarah from Yowie Central on here, because although I do my very best to pay attention to Bigfoot all over the world, that's like, Australia is a pretty big place. And Sarah's got her ears and eyes on everything that's going on down there. So rather than me dig around trying to find all this stuff, it behooves me and all of us to have Sarah on to give us the much better breakdown on it. And she's got some amazing stories and stuff for us this time. But first, we're going to catch up with the rest of the stuff that we didn't catch up with at the end of the last one, talking about a torn apart roo and some new glyphs that she's found. So welcome back to the show, Sarah.
Thank you. It's so lovely to be back, Duke. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to all your listeners too. It's really nice to be back. It's been a bit of a hectic few days for us here in Victoria, in my state, because we've had massive bushfires. So it's very smoky outside. It's been very hot. And as I was telling you just before we started recording, it's been 47 degrees. I had 3 days in a row. It was 43, 47, 43, 46, and 47. Now, 47 degrees is 116.6 Fahrenheit. So it's just been ridiculously hot, and consequently, we've had these really nasty fires.
Thanks for translating that, because actually here yesterday, we had 47 degrees, but 47 Fahrenheit, which is really a lot warmer than it usually is here in January. A lot warmer, but not nearly as warm as you're getting down there at 47 Celsius.
47 Celsius is like standing in a fan-forced oven, especially because we usually get really hot gale force northwest winds, and it was just disgustingly hot.
Well, anything that isn't already completely dried out is going to be just immediately desiccated by temperatures that high with that much wind. Yeah. And then it poof, starts on fire.
Yeah, and I was even putting bowls of iced water out for the magpies and the other birds that are around.
Oh, nice of you.
Yeah, they were all sheltering under the caravan, the trailer that I live in, and there was a whole heap of birds under there. So I stuck bowls of water under there for them. And then when it was a little bit later and the sun was going down, it was still really hot, but I chucked the hose on with the sprinkler, and so all the birds got a bit of a bath after that. So otherwise, I think there would have been a lot of dead wildlife, not just for the fires, but just in that sort of heat. It was ridiculous. I do worry about our hairy friends too, our Yowie friends, in that kind of heat, and when you've got that much hair, and with massive bushfires, lots of them around. I was really feeling for them in the last few days.
Yep, we have that sort of, we have 5 seasons here, 5th being fire season. So every year we have, I shouldn't say every year. Last year we skipped it. Yes. But usually there's big fires here in the Pac West every fall for at least a couple months, and then you have massive areas of forest burning down, and what's happening to the poor Bigfoot. Good thing they can run fast. In some cases, they need to in order to get away from it.
Yeah. Well, actually, one of my someone I interviewed last year reported he's a helicopter fire bomber. I can't remember if I mentioned this to you last time, but he's a helicopter fire bomber pilot, and he was. It was a few years ago in the really bad fires we had. We call it the Black Summer between 2029 and 2020. That New Year's Eve period. That was when I got caught in a nasty bushfire then too. And he was firebombing a mountain ridge and saw what he thought initially out of the corner of his eye were like half a dozen people. And he's like, what are people doing up there? What the hell are they doing? There's not supposed to be anybody up there. I'm about to dump a whole lot of fire retardant on this. And then he realized that they weren't wearing clothes and they were hairy. And there were 5 or 6 of them running from the fire across this mountain ridge. And then they disappeared. When he sort of circled back to have another look, they'd gone. He couldn't see them anywhere, like not even through the trees or anything. They just disappeared.
Right. Well, they're not going to hang around and wave. They're busy outrunning the fire,
No, but he couldn't even see them running down the mountain. Like he could see quite a lot, and he said they just weren't there anymore. It was really, really odd. He did then when he landed and was getting more water, refilling with water, and whatever products they use for the fire retardant. He saw two Yowies looking at him through a V in a tree. So they were around during that fire. Whether they were able to, phase out, go invisible, go into another dimension, do what they do, or like why they needed to be running in the first place. Like, why couldn't they just disappear? I guess maybe they didn't have those skills or that knowledge, or maybe the energy around them was too low vibe and they weren't able to raise their electromagnetic frequency high enough. I don't know.
Well, as far as I know, the adults actually are usually the ones that can open a portal and go through it. The little ones can't go through it. The adults can open one, but the little ones can't go through it.
Yeah.
So if you got little ones, start running. Yeah. You can't go through a portal to get away.
I wonder if they could go through a portal with the little one if they were holding the little one in their arms, or they couldn't.
No, it makes them sick and or kills them. They have to be like a certain mass in order to do it, apparently.
Ah, right. That would make sense.
Yeah. And we're too little, just in case people are wondering.
We're too little, right?
I already asked about that. Nope, we're too little. If we go through it, we'll either get knocked out for a week or get super sick and die. So no, don't go walking through portals.
No. Not if you don't really know what you're doing and you're too little.
And we're all too little. Andre the Giant's too little.
Hey, what was that?
I said Andre the Giant's too little.
Yeah. I never thought I'd hear that sentence.
We're pretty little compared to them. You start finding tracks that are 26 inches long, you start getting an appreciation of just how gigantic some of them are.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, I when you look at the cast that I had, I know the one I showed you last time, that's 14 inches. That looks big to me. But if you're talking, what did you say, 26 inches?
26, yeah, almost twice that long.
Far out. That's
twice that big minus 2 inches.
That just sounds ridiculous, really. Like I can't even imagine how tall a being would be.
Gigantic heel mark going back to here, which again, you would think, well. That can't be a track because it's got toes. See the toes? Outline of the foot goes back to there. Another freaking ginormous track. How big is this one, Johnny?
Look like 24.
Only 24? They're getting smaller.
Yep.
Holy crap. Well, that's a relief. I guess we'll keep driving down the valley until the tracks get down to like 18 inches or so. And then he's not even the biggest one. I found tracks from the one that's up in Coloma, the alpha male up there. He's got a track that's right around 21, 22 inches. Kind of hard to tell because you don't usually get him to lay his foot down perfectly flat, but somewhere in that range. But one of the first times I found his track, he had laid it down on flat ground, and it looked to be about 21 inches long. And there was another track that had stepped on top of his track on the front of it that was 15 inches long. And his footprint was almost as wide as this other Bigfoot track was long. And then you start thinking about a 15-inch Bigfoot track. That's the size of Patty's track from the Patterson-Gimlin film, as big as she is.
How big was hers?
Patty from the Patterson-Gimlin film, 15-inch track. That's the same size as the one that was across this much bigger track that made it look small by comparison.
Yeah, right. Oh, and she was like, they estimate her to be about
A little over 7 feet.
7 foot tall.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a 14, 15 feet tall being with 20 plus inches length.
Yeah, the alpha up there in Coloma, he's around 12 feet, I guess, a little bit bigger. And then the other one, the 26-incher, that he's in a different mountain range, but yeah, he's 15 feet tall. We've not to digress too much. Let's get the hell back off the subject, but we've got abject examples of just how ridiculously strong he is because he snapped off a nice green tree 18 feet up, and it's 2 feet thick, 18 feet up. Wow. Snapped it over and dropped the top of it right in the crotch of another tree. Hey, Robert, say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
That's Robert Boston, Bigfoot in Germany. Next to one of the biggest snap-offs anybody has ever found. Oh my God. That thing is ridiculous. Again, it's like I can't zoom back far enough to get the whole thing. Let's try.
And they snapped it off into there.
Yep. They took that one into two pieces with it.
That was like one of them double trees.
Uh-huh.
It split it. A lot of damage to that tree.
Yeah, all nice green wood. No burn marks from a lightning strike. Wind storms do not snap nice, healthy trees in the middle like that. Okay, skeptards, I want to hear your stupid excuse for it. Big honker. You can see where it squashed down the ground from the impact. Toe marks. More squashed down. Heel impressions right here. So we're looking at about 16 inches. And the reason we're finding this is because we're driving by and there's what looks like an X structure back here. So we're going back to check that out. Robert's back there right now.
That's an X. It's not super big, but
where the Y comes together, that's where you drop the top of it. And then if you go beyond that, he did the same thing again. There's another tree with a crotch in it, and he snapped the top of another one and dropped it on there, and they're both like 18 feet up. And the only thing we can figure is he put his back to the tree and put his hands up like this, just and snap the top over.
As you do.
Yeah, so how big do you have to be, to snap? The tree 18 feet up is where it snapped.
Yeah. How do you even get that bending?
Yeah, like he's stronger than the 2 foot. The tree's 2 feet thick where he snapped it.
Yeah.
I got video of Bigfoot in Germany, Robert Boston, standing in front of the tree. He's at the base of it, and I'm going like, there's where it snapped. There's
Yeah.
Rob. And he wasn't doubting it at all. He's like, oh, yeah, I found lots of tree snaps over in Germany, but none of them were like this size. This is the jumbo retardedly huge size, basically.
Yeah, it's hard to wrap my head around that, the strength involved and the size involved. It's
The
amazing.
only reason I thought it was a snap is because I saw it from the distance, from the road. It was hard to judge perspective and distance, so it looked like, well, that's a tree that's like this big around, and it snapped off about 10 feet up. We see that all the time, right? And that's nice and fresh. It's not a lightning strike. There wasn't a windstorm. Nothing else around it is messed up like that. It's just that one lone tree snapped. So let's walk over and look at it. Well, as I start walking toward it, I'm starting to realize this is a lot further away than it looks, because I don't seem to be getting closer to it. As I'm getting closer, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And finally, I'm right underneath it going, holy crap, man. And Robert, he's standing back on the road watching me walk up on it. And he's like, oh my God, Duke, that's the biggest snap I've ever seen.
I wonder what the Sasquatch was trying to express with that. Was it
We pretty much got that one figured
or
out. We know exactly what they were doing, pretty much. There was a logging crew that was going through the valley, and they were cutting back one side of the road to make a fire break.
Mhm.
And apparently the Sasquatch got tired of them cutting part of the valley down and left them a little notice, curse snap. Here's another one just in case you think that's accidental. Curse snap. And apparently they didn't take the hint, because rumor has it that somebody was lobbing tree stumps at them while they were there cutting. Then they left.
Yeah, right. So it took a little bit more for them to get the hint.
Yeah. When you're sitting there running your chainsaw, and all of a sudden the stump goes kapow and bounces past you, and you're like, I think it's time to quit working.
Okay. Might be time to go now.
Yeah. So some of them are downright picky about having any loggers in their area. They don't really like chainsaws and loggers very much.
That's fair. That's fair enough, isn't it?
Kind of mess up their living room. So anyway, away from all the shenanigans of the Bigfoot up here in Montana and onto the shenanigans of the Yowies down there in Australia. So you got some new glyphs recently that you found?
Yeah. My husband and I went up to look at a property that we fell in love with, that we want to buy. I don't know if we can afford it right now, but there's a property up near Yukai, which is near Murwillumbah, and that is in northeastern New South Wales, right up near. It's relatively near the border between New South Wales and Queensland, and relatively near the coast, but it is inland a bit. That area is an old volcano. It's called Mount Warning, or Woollumbin is the original Australian name.
Wow.
And it's an old massive old volcano. Beautiful, absolutely stunning scenery. It's really lush, semi-tropical rainforest and really dense bush. We went up to have a look at this property, and then I went to visit a friend of mine who lives near there at a place called Tyalgum. And we went for a walk, and it was 36 degrees, so really, really hot in Celsius, really hot, and it's felt like 100% humidity. It's really, really
God, no.
semi-tropical up there. It's hardcore. Anyway, my friend took me for a walk up the mountain, and actually, I'll take a step back. The day before, when we arrived at the accommodation, I found, just as we arrived, we stayed in this really cute lodge, very private, no one else around. I get out of the car, go to walk down the path, and there's this perfect cross, perfect X marker, right where I was, and I thought, oh, they've left this here. I'm sure they've left this here, and I put my hand over it and could feel. And I'm not sure if I've spoken to you this a bit before, but when they touch things like sticks, they leave like
Grease.
energy Well, they would leave grease, but they leave an energy residue. They leave a frequency on it, and you can
Yep.
feel it in the palm of your hand. And I put my hand over this, and the palm of my hand heated up, and my hand got tingly. And I thought, that's them. They knew I was coming, and they've left me an X marker to say, "Hey, hi Sarah, we know you're here," which is so exciting. I was really thrilled about that. So the next day we go for a walk, and up this mountain, and there's a track along the side of this mountain, and we found multiple different glyphs. One of the ones that I sent you a picture of was a stick had been broken and placed on a rock, then a leaf, and then the stick was upright and then broken so that the longer bit balanced on the ground. So this stick is like that sort of
Right.
that sort of shape. This bit, I'm going opposite in the camera. The bit touching the ground was balancing on a rock. Like, there's no way that stick could have fallen upright, balancing on a rock.
Yeah, it seems very unlikely.
Just wouldn't happen like that.
Whereas the part that was on the ground, if it was like a tree snap marker, like a little instant version that they made you or something, where was that pointing to?
That was down the track.
The part that comes down like this, that's pointing somewhere.
Yeah. So down the track, just off to the side of the track.
So what did they have down there waiting for you? That was a
I
go
don't
this
know.
way marker.
The thing is, it was so hot, and we were like, I was tomato faced and like covered in sweat. We were both soaking wet, and so we decided we didn't have enough water with us to go for a really long walk, so we didn't keep going down the track too far. But there were multiple track. We both of us felt eyes on us. We both felt kind of uneasy. My friend Mark actually heard a wood knock that I missed at the time, which I often do because I was probably busy talking or something. But he heard a wood knock, and he's very very sensitive to their energy, and he can often tell when they're around. And he said, "We've got company, Sarah. I think there's some up there and there's some up there." And they left all these. Well, I didn't mind if we found them, whether they left them for us or they were left for each other, and we just happened to find them. But yeah, there were multiple little patterns that did not appear natural at all.
Right.
So yeah, it was a good. It was a really cool day. It was a great couple of days because I really felt close to them. I felt like they were around.
That's one of the things most people, and even field researchers, don't pay enough close observation to notice those teeny tiny subtle little things, which is one of the reasons I liked Tom Coburn's channel, Trails in the Woods, over there in Germany, because he'll find these little, twigs and stuff that you start looking at them and you're like, wait, how did that get there? How did it get intertwined with these other ones? That's a fresh one that's green. How did that get intertwined with it? And you're like,
yeah,
that's not natural.
Well, there's 3 sticks, but they're over, under.
Yeah, exactly. They're all interweaved.
Yeah. So I found a few of those that trip. And
yeah, for anybody that's interested in getting out in the field and doing this kind of stuff, they leave lots of little subtle signs in the environment that they're there, and most people don't pick them up. Even gigantic signs. Rich Soul mentioned that. We just did his 10th anniversary wrap up, 10 years of Knox Gigas project. He was out with some guys from the BFRO, and they were walking out to an area where there had been Bigfoot incidents. And as they're walking down the path, he's like, "Hey guys, there's a giant structure right here that you're all walking past. It's so huge you had to stand in 3 different places and take 3 pictures to document the whole thing." And they all just walked right past it. Didn't even know what it was.
Yeah, it's so easy to walk past these things if you don't know what you're looking for. And what I love about up in that area, there's so much green grass. You really notice when there are sticks on the grass. Down here where I live, everything's brown and dusty, and there's shitloads of sticks everywhere. So
you don't so much notice it, right?
I really don't notice them down here. I've noticed a few because I've set up a little area where I've left things, and I've noticed, when they've been changed or moved position, or something's been woven through what I left there. But in general, it's impossible to well, not impossible, but it's harder to find those, to notice those little things. Whereas up there, everything's so green, you really do notice the sticks.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember we had one where we were going across this little river and there was what looked like part of a track. And it was one of those where it could be a track or maybe it isn't. Maybe just a rock fell down the embankment and made this impression, but it sure looks like part of a track. And it was going up the embankment. There was a little game trail. So we went, well, let's go up there and see if there's any more tracks. So we followed it and followed it and followed it. It was an obvious game trail. It kept getting, something was using it a lot. We couldn't figure out exactly what. And then we got up to the top of this little rise, and there's this whole tree arched over. And I'm like, yeah, pretty sure I know who's using this trail. That was a Bigfoot track back there.
Yeah, it's kind of obvious when you find those things, isn't it?
Yeah, I was kind of like just about getting ready to go, nah, we're on a wild goose chase. We get up to the top of this ridge. There's this tree like this thick, arched over completely, the top almost touching the ground. I'm like, yeah, okay, they're up here.
Yeah. And you can often just sense, like feel them when they're around. I don't know about you, but
Oh yeah.
You can. There's that sense of being watched. You can feel the energy. So there's like sometimes I get a bit of a tingly feeling, or you just suddenly know that they're there.
You can tell how close you are too. I mean, if you've got the kind of capacity where you can sense being watched, and I could do that because run around the woods all the time. If a big predator is watching you or something, you can tell something's watching you. You can tell when people are watching you. You could be in a shopping mall and have one of your friends on the upper balcony staring at you, and you'd be like, somebody's watching me, and you turn around and look. Okay. Well, they can do that too,
Yeah.
But so that's not like some ridiculous supernatural skill. Pretty much everybody can do that kind of thing. But when they're really near you, yeah, it's like you're standing next to a huge electric generator. It's a completely different. You can feel the energy coming off of them, which tells you there's a cloaked Bigfoot standing right next to you, who's getting ready to giggle and fart on you. So move fast.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. That's just reminded me of that story you told when I spoke to you last time about the farting into the air conditioner.
Yeah, it's all escalated. It's completely out of hand now at this point. More hilarious stories coming in all the time. He's trying to weaponize his farts now. He's trying to make weapon grade farts. So
weapon grade Sasquatch farts.
We told him that you need special fuel to make really deadly farts, and here's the kind of stuff to eat. Cabbage, beans, venison, all the stuff that makes you fart.
Asparagus.
Asparagus, yeah. Charge up the fart cannon. So anyway, the audience doesn't know what the hell we're talking about. But getting back to them, yeah, in the areas that I'm in, I've been going to the same areas for so long now, the locals there know me. So if I show up and I don't get the creepy feeling they're watching me, I start wondering where the hell they are. I get creeped out when I don't feel them watching me, because I start wondering, where are they? This is where they're usually at. Why isn't anybody watching me? They should be here by now. And it makes me feel extra safe because unlike where you're at, we do have giant bone-crushing, man-eating predators. Then when you've got 10-foot Sasquatch following you around, no giant bone-crushing, man-eating predators are going to get anywhere near you.
No, that's very handy. Very handy having a bodyguard. Sure.
That's essentially it. That's the agreement I've got with them up here. I bring them yummy munchies to eat. They act as my bodyguards while I'm walking around filming their structures and tracks and stuff.
That sounds like a good arrangement. So you don't become a snack.
Yeah, I'm trying to document elusive hominids in the mountains, and my security crew are the elusive hominids in the mountains. Life is way too weird. So, but yeah, you guys get some really spectacular Yowie stories out of where you're at, and I had some previous guests on that had some just amazing ones, and I'm sure you got some really good ones for us. So, what can you let us know about some of the best stories you've collected down there?
Oh, well, one of them, I can't remember. I've mentioned this one to you. It was the same guy who ended up being a helicopter pilot, a firebomber, when he was
Okay.
a young man. Did I tell you about the one where he's up on a mountain and as an electricity linesman? So
Okay.
he's a young man. He's early 20s. He's an electricity linesman, and he's up in the mountains down here in Victoria. It's a high country. They're I guess they're big mountains with snow on them. And there's been a big storm. So he's one morning he's up at about 7 a.m. It's daylight, and he's up on a big electricity structure in the mountains fixing whatever issue there was. And he notices, so he's up on a ridge, and he notices on a couple of ridges away something moving, and he realizes he's looking at three large, hairy beings making their way, you kind of using the easement the electricity line. Obviously, there are no trees there, so they're using they're walking right on the edge of the tree line, and sometimes popping out onto the easement because it's easier to get through all that scrub. One was huge, and he estimated it to be. Maybe I'm just trying to remember what he said now. Maybe 9 foot tall, 9 or 10 foot tall.
Big.
Big. There was and he thought that's an alpha male. Looking at the other two, there was the next shorter one down, didn't have the V-like body that the big male did. He could see breasts,
Right.
and he had a more of a solid up and down figure. And
Nice,
then
nice little petite barrel shaped like Patty.
yeah, bit petite like Patty, a similar body shape to Patty,
Right.
and then the smallest one had more of the V-like a shape, like the father, but was the smallest one. So obviously, he said it looked like a family group, and initially, and he didn't know, he'd heard of Yowies, but he really didn't know anything about them then, and he was quite frightened, and at first going, what am I looking at? What what is this? And he thought, maybe I should kind of get down, and he loses sight of them. They go down into a valley, and thinks, okay, now I better get down. And he moves to the other side of the structure and starts coming down, and he stops when he realizes that he can see this group again. They've come up on another ridge closer to him, and now the big male is looking around, sniffing. He looks like he's sniffing, and he thinks, oh my God, it can smell me now. and he's like, right. So the three of them continue walking down into the next valley, and he thinks it's going to come up on my ridge next. I've got to get out of here. Gets down, turns around, goes to move, and then he sees the big male standing not far away from him, looking directly at him.
Because they moved that fast, yeah.
They were moving.
You're thinking about it's time to leave. They're there already.
They're there already, staring at him, and he's sort of in shock, terrified, not sure what to do. And all of a sudden, he got a wave of emotion or energy hit him, and he felt like he was being told, it's all right. Don't worry. You're safe. We're not coming for you. You're safe. It was this really calming, calm, safe feeling that washed over him. And he believes they were sending that to him. It was like they were speaking to his mind, but not so much in words, but it was this feeling and knowing that they weren't going to hurt him and he was all right. But yeah. So, and then they turned around. He lost sight of them. They kept moving, and he ran. He ran, and then he met up with one of his other workmates who was also working along that line. And the other mate looked like he'd seen a ghost, and he said, "Are you all right?" And he said, "Oh," and he'd seen these beings as well. So they both saw them on the same day. But what was really amazing, even more amazing about that, was this wave of energy that he got hit with. And I've experienced that myself. Not calm and safety, but I've experienced like this big love loving energy. Hard
Right.
to I've 3 or 4 times now I've experienced it. It's quite an amazing feeling. One of the other cool stories that I've heard recently was this young family who lived up in the Daintree National Forest area, which is far north Queensland, tropical rainforest up there. And this family were managing a cattle property up there for 3.5 years. They had some terrible floods came through. It wiped out all their livestock, and the owner of the property decided to turn it into a glamping ecotourism property instead.
Clamping.
Yeah, glamping. So he was asked by the owner to start creating glamping sites. So he cuts out a bit of a hill where he's going to construct this fancy pantsy camping site.
Little bungalow,
A
inexpensive.
little bungalow with a beautiful little bathroom and quality camping. But it had been fine for 8 months until they started excavating that spot. And then the trouble started. And then it was 3 years of escalating, and not just yowies, but orbs, weird creatures. So the first he hears about it, the guys with the excavator who are digging this site out ask him, why are you running around in this spot with no shoes on? Like, we're using tools. There's you're going to cut your feet up. And he said, I haven't been. And he went up there, and there's footsteps everywhere, different sized footprints. And he's like, well, it wasn't me, and there's no one else out there. So then a few days later, the guys doing the excavating call him and say, can you come up to the camping site? Come up now. He gets up there. There's a massive boulder that's been placed in the way of the excavator. They can't get in there. There's no tracks anywhere. Like you would need an excavator to lift this boulder. It was that big. And but there were no marks anywhere of any machinery. There were not even any tracks of anything. There's just this massive boulder suddenly placed in a way that stops them from being able to work. They had to get another excavator in to move this boulder so they could keep working. It went on, more footsteps. The next time he was down near a waterfall on the same property, and he feels like he's been watched for a start, and then he hears something running, and he sees there's long clumps of lamandra grass, which is like a native grass, quite, a meter or so high, and he sees something parting these bushes and running through the grass, but it's invisible. There's nothing there.
You can hear it. You can see the grass moving. There's nothing.
There's nothing there. And then it runs, and then all of a sudden it stops. It hits where the river is and where the waterfall is, and he doesn't hear a splash. He doesn't hear anything else moving. It just disappeared. Very strange. The next thing, like, there were lots of little incidents that sort of built up to, like, in the end, they left the property because they couldn't handle it.
I got a parallel to that one. There's somebody I know who's doing an investigation in Portlock, Alaska, and they're all heavily armed because Portlock, Alaska. And he had gotten away from the rest of the group, and he was going through all these thickets, and he came out into this little clearing in the middle of the thicket. It was about like 30 feet across. And something started running up behind him, and it was heavy. He could feel the ground shaking. He could see the bushes moving out of the way, like something was plowing through it. He was expecting a moose or a grizzly to come through. So he turns around with his gun. The thickets part. There's nothing there. The footsteps continue right past him. He could feel the wind go past him as something invisible and really heavy ran past him and then smashed through the thicket on the other side.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Amazing.
Scared the crap out of him.
Yeah. And then this guy is out fishing and he gets a basketball-sized rock thrown at him that landed just behind him. Like there's nothing it could have fallen down from. It something threw a pretty heavy basketball-sized rock at him. He's out fishing again and he sees something that looked like it was the size of a cow, but brown and hairy, but not the right shape for a cow.
How now, brown cow?
How now, brown cow? And then he's got his thermal monocular out one night, just because there's so many little incidents of noise, of rocks, of footsteps and tracks. And
Going back a bit now, it sounds like this all kind of started when they excavated that one spot.
Yeah.
What did they dig up exactly that pissed off everything so bad?
it was the side of a hill. I don't think the beings who lived there wanted them building anything there, and they'd sort of dug out the side of a smallish hill. It wasn't a large excavation, but to make a flat area where they could put this camping site. So they just brought noisy machinery in, and they were
they disturbed something they didn't want them to disturb, obviously, because that's like ridiculous amount of activity.
Yeah, there were things knocking down trees. He actually saw a big fella, a Yowie. He thinks it was a Yowie through his thermal. Now, it was a huge bipedal creature, had to have been at least 8 foot tall.
Probably a Yowie.
They went back to the site the next day to see from his vantage point, and it was after they'd built the bathroom area of this glamping site, and he could see the head above it and behind it. And in order to be able to do that, this being had to have been at least 8 to 9 foot tall. He was looking at it. He watched it for half an hour. It was watching him. He was watching it, and it was watching him. He didn't press record. And I'm like, dude. He was so conscious of he just wanted to know what it was. He wasn't in the business of documenting Yowie things, and so he wasn't really into getting Yowie footage or anything. He just wanted to know what the hell's on this property. And so he was standing in those little buggies that you drive around farm properties on. And he was standing in that, and he said, I'm going to drive up there. So holding the monocular up to see what it would do when he turned the ignition on, the second the engine turned over, it took off and ran. It was gone. So he was kind of annoyed that he turned the engine on. He should have just sat there for a while. And
whoops, major mistake.
Then next thing, something threw a rock up onto they had a 4-story, must have been on a bit of a hill, but a 4-story lodge where they were living. Something threw a rock up onto the 3rd floor and smashed one of the glass doors. Something then. One night he hears his wife scream. He comes running up to the 4th floor, and she said, there's something out there. She saw a purpley mauve coloured humanoid figure that looked like it was wavy, like water, like ripply, a bit like the Predator, like that vibe. Cloaking up on the 4th story, but not necessarily on the balcony. But there's no way to get up there other than through the house. It has to have floated up, or climbed up the outside of the building.
Climbed.
Then the next thing he sees, a giant green, a green orb that was, I think I remember it was basketball sized again.
Wow.
A green orb that he followed. It was lime green, and he followed it, and he said he got a really good feeling from it. It was kind of weaving out in between the trees, and he'd gone down and was walking around with it, and he didn't get a bad feeling, even though his wife was terrified and saying, don't come back here, don't follow it. And the next thing, though, he saw a giant white orb that was the size of a small car. Like, it was massive. And he that night he felt dread. He suddenly felt absolutely terrified. He said, I can't tell you why. Something was so frightening all of a sudden. This orb was really, really scary. He couldn't explain it any other way. And he had a couple of other of those moments when he's out in the bush, just terror, inexplicable terror. Another episode, he's fishing again. He smells that really bad, strong smell that's associated with Yowies and Sasquatch.
Right.
And then he sees light coming up from the river, some kind of a light rushing up from the bottom of the river up to the top, and then it seemed to kind of burst at the top of the water and then disappear.
Wow.
So it was just 3 years. The whole interview was like 3.5 hours.
Good God, I guess with all this stuff happening.
I did it in two sessions because it was there was so much information. That's why I called it. That's why it reminded me of the Skinwalker Ranch in the States, because there was so much weird shit going on.
That place is weird, and it's not very big. It's only like 400 acres or something. You could drive all the way around it in 20 minutes. And that's
really?
what I did when we were done. It's tiny. Yeah. We were outside the fence of it the whole time, drove all the way around it in like 20 minutes. And that's including time to stop and film locations and stuff, and accidentally film a phantom and all that kind of stuff along the way. And then we got over to where the actual entrances, and they got security cams and signs up there and everything. You can't go in here, and you're under video surveillance. So we're filming them surveilling us and having all kinds of fun. But yeah, Skinwalker Ranch isn't very big, but the spooks on it don't seem to realize that they're supposed to stop at the fence on the edge of it and not go on the other side of it, because you don't have to be in the ranch itself to have stuff happening. It's all the way around it.
Yeah, right.
I want to digress for a second to tell this story because Kelly mentioned this to me, and he hasn't actually recorded it. But when we were there at the ranch, we were driving around it. And when you go around one side of it, you can see the sort of canyon wall coming up out of that area, and there's a big oil platform over there. And I said, what's the deal with that? And he goes, well, they got a lot of oil under this land. So they lease it out to the oil companies. The oil companies pump it out, and then they get part of the money back, most of it. Mm-hmm. They've also got some other additional riders in their contract that if any of the natives comes up to one of these active drill platforms or something and wants a job, they have to give them one. So they can like automatically get work if they want. All they have to do is walk up to one of these drill platforms and go, hey, I want a job. And they'll find something for them to do and give them a job right away. So the very one he's pointing at as we're driving, and we're almost coming to the point where we're going to turn and drive away from it. He goes, that one right there. And he stops for a minute. This guy contacted me and said he was working on that particular one. And there was, like 8 or 10 guys up there or something. And they all noticed there was this guy walking along across the valley coming toward him. So they went, well, he must be, he's a local Indian guy. Maybe he's going to come up here and get a job or something. So most of them went back to what they were doing, and they let the one guy just kind of pay attention to him, see, watch him. If he's going to come up here or something, then it's a safety thing. So he can't let him just walk right up here unless he's working here or something, right? So he's watching the guy walk up, and as the guy finally gets, like about 50, 60 yards away, he just kind of stops and stands there and looks at him and turns into a coyote and runs away. And this is broad frickin' daylight too. And he was like, Skinwalker.
Wow.
So this it's still going on. That whole area is really weird and creepy. It has bad history. And yeah. And then the Blind Frog Ranch is only a few miles away from there. There's another place that's got a lot of paranormal stuff going on all the time.
And I did hear about this property in the Daintree. Tony, the guy I interviewed, he knew a little bit about the history of this property. And apparently when white people started invading that part of the country, they were shooting to kill and murdering all the Kuku Yulanji local people, the indigenous people in that area. And so there'd been massacres and murders on that land. So maybe there's a curse on it.
No,
Maybe
that's exactly what it is. This goes all the way back to when the Spanish conquistadors showed up, because at that point it was the Utes and the Navajo were living in the area, and the Utes decided that it'd be really cool to enslave the Navajo and sell them to the Spanish, and they could use them for slaves to dig gold and stuff. And the Navajo were not down with that. And these are the guys that invented the skinwalker. So now that the Utes took over the area, guess who got cursed? That was kind of a dumb move, you guys.
yeah,
You're
exactly.
still cursed. 400 years later, there's still skinwalkers watching that area.
Mm. Yeah. There's something definitely going on in this property up north. That's for sure.
Yeah, it could be the same thing. We got another one here I haven't even covered on the show yet, but I'm going to have two different guests on to talk about it. So over in California, it's called Black Star Canyon. Horrible, horrible past. Whole busload of kids went over the edge of the canyon. They all died.
Oh,
There was
wow.
an Indian massacre there way before that. And then when the Black Star Mining Company took over the canyon and started mining everything in there, it was so haunted they abandoned it. They even left their mining equipment stuff there and abandoned it. So it's
Wow.
really bad. And one of my friends has been contacting me and sending me all kinds of pictures. He goes there periodically and walks around and gets tons of weird pictures.
Mm.
And then the other one that contacted me, he lives in the other side of the country right now. And like 15 years ago, he had found this place and been documenting it. And they're both taking pictures of the same weird things. So I put them in touch with each other, and they're like, "Oh my God, he was finding all the same weird stuff I'm finding." So we'll have those guys on. There's another one of those spots where it's cursed and all kinds of weird stuff is happening there all the time.
Yeah, that's freaky. Very freaky.
Yeah, it doesn't matter which continent you're on, wherever there's a lot of this really nasty negative stuff has happened seems to attract that. I don't know if it tears the fabric of the universe or opens portals or draws attention from evil negative entities or what exactly, but all these big areas of conflict, like US Gettysburg, where the big battle happened, that area is so damn haunted, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I've heard that. And the original Australians have medicine, had then and still have shamans. They have Kadai. They call sometimes one of the names for them is a Kadachi man or Karadaji man. Kadachi men could curse you. They were black magic practitioners. Not all of the medicine men were black magic practitioners, but some of them were really evil shapeshifters. There's a history of those as well. So similar kind of stuff actually over here.
Still going on over here with the Navajo skinwalkers and stuff. You can hire them to curse people. South Africa, the witch doctors they got over there, they can summon a Tokoloshi to kill your enemy. You got two choices over there. You can hire a hitman or you can hire a witch doctor. They're both just as effective.
Yeah.
This stuff is still going on.
Yeah. And not just men. I because they often talk about like a medicine man, or a clever man, as they were called as well. But they were women as well. There were just as many female practitioners as there were male practitioners. I was speaking about this with an original Australian woman elder that I interviewed a little while ago, and she was saying how they decided they would only talk about the medicine men in order to protect the medicine women.
Right.
And so there's more talk nowadays of that they were mainly male practitioners, but that wasn't the case according to her. But they didn't talk about the women in order to protect them when white people came and invaded. They wanted to protect the women.
There's other parts of the world where the secret got out, like Romania, where they have the gypsies. And guess who are the evil fortune tellers and hex casters? It's the women.
I'm sure there are just as many men who are spell casting.
No, the women are in charge.
For sure. One of the other stories that I did recently was actually happened back in the 80s, but just near where I live, along the Murray River. And this young man had spent most of his summers camping in the bush. He was a hunter. really experienced out in the bush. And he seems to be he's had a lifetime, particularly when he was younger, of being a bit of a Yowie magnet. Like he's seen three of them.
Oh,
The
geez.
first one, 3 or 4 actually. But he remembers seeing one when he was about 15 and camping with friends out in the bush. And this Yowie that he saw was, the colour of it really struck me as unusual. It was grey, and it was darker grey, like a charcoaly black grey at the feet, and then faded up, and the closer it got to the top, the lighter it got. And I was thinking, oh, that's a really unusual colouring. But then he said it's the same colour as the river, the eucalyptus trees, the particular species of eucalyptus trees that are around
He
there.
blends right in with them.
Yeah, perfectly camouflaged. So he saw one, and then the next year he's in a, not right there, but a similar area, not far from there, and he and his mates had been mucking around. They'd been playing really loud music. The parents, they were camping along a river. There's a little hut where they were staying, and the 2 adults, they were a father and a friend. They'd gone off to the pub for a few drinks in the afternoon and left these teenage boys alone at the campsite.
Oh, that's where the trouble always starts.
Yes. And they were playing really loud, like AC/DC, and
Oh, God.
cranked it so
Here we
loud, was reverberating around everywhere, and he probably pissed all the Yowies off. So he sees 3 of them. He sees a family, what looked like a family group. He got his rifle out to have a look through the scope and could see them clearly, and his friend, and then they hid behind a tree. So his friend went to have a look and couldn't quite see it very clearly. It's getting dark, and they've forgotten to collect firewood for the fire. So just as the sun's going down, they're like, "Oh,
A great time to think about firewood."
now we've got to pick up firewood in the dark, and there's 3 monsters out there. Great."
Yeah.
And so he's initially out there with his dog. His dog turns around, runs back, tail between its legs, into the little hut, weeing on itself.
Oh, God.
It was terrified, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh my God." So he goes out to get some more wood, and obviously they've got a little bit of they've lit some of the kindling, so there's this tiny little bit of light, but it's not reaching very far. He starts noticing a really strong dead smell, like something's dead there, and he's like, it wasn't there before, and then all of a sudden that smell's there. Then he sees a big dark shadow up against one of the trees, and he's thinking, what is that? And then he hears this giant exhale, like a horse. He described it like a horse, but bigger, like something had breathed out, and it was enormous. And now he's starting to go, all right, this is I need to get out of here. He had an armful of sticks, turns around to run, takes one step, and something grabs his back foot and flips him up into the air.
Wow.
Flips him up in the air. He lands face down, winded, couldn't breathe, and then he feels something at the back of his neck, and he hears something, hears and feels something inhale like it's sniffing him. And he said it was so close that it moved the hair on the back of his neck. This giant inhale, and he's like, "Oh my God, something's about to eat me. It's smelling me to see if I'm tasty, and it's going to eat me." And somehow this poor kid manages to work through. He gets his air back. He said, "I was crawling but running. Like I was crawling, running. I was crawling as fast as I could to get back to the campsite." And he did manage to get back there. It didn't hurt him. It was just trying to scare the crap out of him because they'd been so noisy and obnoxious earlier on in the afternoon. But But then they were throwing sticks on the roof of this little hut because he's yelling out to his friends, "Get inside! There's something out there! Get inside!" And then they're throwing these beings were throwing sticks on the roof. So these 3 young teenagers were terrified, absolutely terrified. And then the two adults arrive, and then everything stops.
Oh, sure.
Stops. So yeah. So it's one of the most remarkable stories I've heard because he was so genuine, and there's not many people that can say that they've actually been physically touched. And to be able to say that a Yowie grabbed your back foot and threw you in the air and then sniffed the back of your neck, just terrifying.
I only know, like,
he was so frightened he peed his pants.
oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I only know a handful of people that have actually touched a Bigfoot, and there's not very many of them. And where he's grabbed by the leg and then chucked. I don't know if you saw the video that we got with MK Davis where they were at Bluff Creek, and he had a couple other investigators with him. Don Monroe was one of them. And MK's got a GoPro on his hat, and he's going up this really steep hill, and he turns around to see what's going on. And the one guy's right behind him. Don is down at the base of the cliff or hill, probably about 20 feet away. And abruptly he goes up into the air, flies about 10 feet forward, and says, "What the hell?" and goes splat on his face. It's like, this guy's in his 80s. He can't launch himself up into the air like Superman.
Gosh.
And he didn't know it was coming. And yeah, we got it on loop tape. If I can find it again, I'll show it. But you can hear him go, "What the hell?" And all of a sudden, he's like up in the air flying and lands on his face.
Oh
and
my
then
God.
right after that, the guy behind MK got sick, like he had been zapped or something.
Right.
And MK was feeling like weird and disoriented too. And they're like, "Yeah, we need to go back." Well, yeah, something just threw down on his face. He ain't Superman. He can't go up and away and jump 10 feet through the air. And the guy's in his 80s,
Here.
landing on his face.
And here. And here. And here. And here.
I do know 2 people who, this is with the organisation that I used to research with, AYR. They were out and they'd set up their hammocks. They were staying overnight, doing some research, and set up 2 hammocks close to each other. And both of them at the same time felt something like it was like a finger touched the top of their head. And they know it was the same time because they both suddenly went, "What was that?" And they said, "Oh, no, something touched me." And he's like, "No, something touched me." And it felt like a finger had touched them on the head. In fact, there's probably just one big Yowie going, "Donk."
Yeah, probably.
See how much I can scare these guys.
I don't know for sure if it was a Bigfoot or not, but I was standing on a porch on a house in the dark talking on my phone. And while I'm talking on my phone, all of a sudden, well, actually it was this side, goes like that. And then drops back down again. I'm like, my shoulder is literally 12 feet off the ground. There's nothing behind me.
Mhm.
That was really weird. I don't know if it was a Bigfoot, but nothing behind me. There was no place for it to run to or hide or anything. And all of a sudden,
Yeah, no, that would scare me for sure. For sure.
the person I'm talking to, I'm like, hold on. He goes, "What?" And I'm like, Some just kind of pulled my collar on my shirt up. There's nothing here, dude. I'm standing on the porch by myself. There's nothing around me. The porch itself is 7 feet off the ground. So that plus my height, up by my shoulders, you're looking at least 12 feet.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that was really weird. If it's it wasn't for the fact that I'm so used to weird stuff happening, I probably would have freaked out really bad.
Yes. Yeah. For sure. For sure. It is really rare. There's, as you know, between you and I, we still don't know that many people who've been physically touched.
Yeah, again, I don't know that was a Bigfoot that touched me. I don't know what did it exactly. I mean, at one point I hit something too, and I don't know if it was a Bigfoot or not. I assume it was, but I couldn't actually see it. It was on the other side of the tent fabric from me, messing around with my cooler. And I woke up and rolled over and saw something leaning against the tent and went, pow! And it stepped away from the tent. my mighty human strength, I did absolutely nothing, but at least it got the hint that I was awake and probably shouldn't be digging in my cooler right next to the tent because it's like that far away from me.
Well, actually, one of the other ones I remember was a guy who had gone camping in the Barmah National Forest by himself. He'd ridden in there on a motorbike and was camping in a tent. And I think he woke up hearing footsteps or a growl or something. It was a few years ago that I did this interview, but he could see something went onto the tent and collapsed the tent, and he had what he thinks is a Yowie straddling him with one hand through the tent material, feeling his face with these giant fingers.
Oh my God.
Sausage fingers. And he's lying there so terrified, and he's pretending to be dead. So he wasn't breathing. And he's lying there going, oh my God, please get off me. I'm going to die here because somehow this Yowie managed to get off him before he asphyxiated. But he obviously then couldn't get to sleep. It got off the tent. He didn't hear it move away. He heard nothing. So he was awake for the rest of the night just waiting for daylight. Didn't even have a car. Didn't have a car to get into to make a getaway. He was there on a mountain bike.
Oh my God!
Imagine being stuck in the forest by yourself in the middle of the night. You've just had a Yowie land on you, straddle you, feel your face up, and then it disappears, and you can't run. You can't get out of there. You're stuck until daylight, and the only way you can get out is on a push bike.
No thanks. I heard another one from down there in Australia where there was a group that were camping. multiple tents. They had vehicles. They'd come in with vehicles, and they had an area with these big trees with the branches that were like almost completely over the campsite. And apparently, some Yowie got way too curious and got too far out on a branch because it snapped and fell with him onto the tent below it.
Oh my God.
The guy in the tent to go, ah! And then the Yowie went, ah! And jumped up and ran away, and everybody piled out of their tents like, what the hell's going on out here?
Oh my God. That would give you such a fright.
Oh, God. Yeah, I know. They're looking at the branch going, what the hell weighs enough to snap that thing off? Because they heard something screaming and run away before anybody could get out of the tents and see what was going on, So
Yeah. Actually, I know two people who have been lying in a tent and had their mattresses pulled down, like moved. One of them was actually here on my property.
oh, jeez.
Yes.
I have
The
not
other-
had that happen, but I did have one kick my air mattress because my air mattress was almost the width of my tent. And for whatever reason, he came up and kicked the air mattress, and it skidded with me on it about 4 inches sideways until the other wall of the tent stopped it from moving. And I went, what the hell? And I'm awake going, something just kicked my air mattress. And I'm thinking about it going, what the hell is strong enough to kick my air mattress and actually make it move? I weigh 240, It's a lot of weight. And right then I hear the guy in the other tent on the other side of the campfire go, knock it off, leave me alone. And I'm like, okay, something's going on. It's not him kicking my air mattress. He's the only other person here. So I unzip the tent and I'm getting out. The fire's almost dead. So I'm throwing wood in it. I'm going, what are you yelling about? And he goes, oh, there's something over here messing with me. And I go, what do you mean messing with you? And he starts explaining to me what's happening. He heard something walking around by his tent for about 20 minutes. He woke up thinking there was an earthquake happening because the ground was shaking. And then he realized it wasn't an earthquake because it would stop and the ground would shake and he'd hear these heavy crunches. And there was 2 sources going around his tent for about 20 minutes. And he could hear him talking to couldn't understand what the hell they were saying. And then one of them, he could hear one of them walked over to my tent, kicked my air mattress, and I went, what the hell? And then right after that, they came back again. He could hear it walking back again. And then he started hearing this sound right next to the fabric on the tent where his head was. And he started going, I recognize that sound. What the hell is that? That's not a natural sound. It's not an animal. His brain's going super fast trying to figure it out. It's one of the empty plastic water bottles that he left outside the front of the tent. They're squeezing it, going. And apparently that was so damn hilarious. They had to go kick the air mattress and wake me up. So I'd be awake to enjoy the hilarity too. Yes, they do have a sense of humor.
Yes, for sure.
And that was my first reaction. As soon as he told me what was going on, I started laughing my ass off. And I go, that's hilarious. And then all of a sudden he goes, yeah, that is kind of funny when you think about it. It's like, he was just busy being terrified a few seconds ago. And I'm standing outside laughing about it. He knows it wasn't me. He heard him go over and kick my air mattress and me yelling and get up again,
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, they like to play pranks. Most people underestimate that about them. They have a wicked sense of humor. They really enjoy pranks. Sometimes they'll scare people just because it's funny. If they don't particularly want you around somewhere, they'll epically scare you because it's not only funny, but they don't want you there anyway.
That's right.
And even people that they like, they'll still play pranks on. Like this is a good example. Hey, we're gonna. Here, you got this new guy with you here. This is the first time we got him here. Check this out. We're gonna play a prank on him. Go wake Duke up. Boom. Ah, what the hell? That was Scotty. That was the first and only time Scott went camping with me.
Oh, he didn't go again.
Never came back again. No. He claimed he moved to the other side of the country so he'd have a convenient excuse for not going camping again.
I was told by a lovely woman I know who I interviewed who has seen quite a few Yowies, and she's quite gifted with her ability to communicate with them as well. And she told me that when I first started going to Queensland, and the Yowie that I communicate with saw me because he gave me a vision of him looking at all of us
Right.
from in the
His
forest.
eye view. Yeah.
His eye view. And she said they told her that he was going to play a prank on me. They really wanted to play a prank. But then they thought I'd get too scared and decided not to. We'll leave her this time. We won't play any pranks on her this time. Maybe next time, but we won't scare the shit out of her this time. I was very grateful for.
They don't want you. They don't want you to stop showing up, but they really, really want to play at least one prank on you.
Yeah.
Now it's to the point where I'm just like, I'm boring. They just ignore me. They play pranks on whoever the new guy is that I bring back. I had my roommate up there. Like the second time he went up there with me, he was going to stay overnight. I'm down the hill on the campsite in my tent, and he's up the hill on the road in his car in case he has to make a fast getaway or something, right? And I'm just laughing at him and going, "Why don't you just set up a tent, come down here?" He's like, "Oh, no, I want to stay close to the car." And I'm like, "Well, don't forget that I rode up here with you in case you decide to panic and run away in the middle of the night." And he's, "Oh, I could have nothing to panic about." And I go, "Oh, yeah, famous last words. I'm going to be down here sleeping nice all night long. They're going to be up here messing with you because you're by yourself." And he just laughs. He's like, "Oh." So the next morning I get up and I go, "How was your night?" And he goes, "I couldn't sleep for the first 3 hours. I could hear them walking around the car and I could feel the car shaking from their feet walking, the weight of their feet. This is a hard packed road. It's making the car shake." And he could hear them talking to each other and stuff. And I said, "Oh, I didn't have none of that down there." And he goes, "Yeah, you fucker." I told you that was going to happen. They're not interested in me anymore. They want to check out the new guy and harass you all night long.
Well, I'll tell you another story that was amazing.
Okay, let's hear it.
This happened the last year, a couple of years ago. Up in southeastern Queensland, this Shannon, this guy was, and he was part of the AYR research group at the time. And he started work really early, like ridiculously early in the morning. So he'd have to leave home for work at 4 o'clock in the morning. And so it's still dark. He's riding his motorbike. He's a big motorbike.
In the dark too yet. Oh God, that's so dangerous.
Oh, it is. Coming down a mountain.
Oh God, it's even more dangerous. The story just keeps getting worse, Sarah.
It doesn't end in an accident. But it's amazing. So he's coming around a blind corner. In the headlights, up ahead is a small, hairy being crouched on the road. What happens is all of a sudden it's leaning one hand on the road and it puts up one hand and turns its face away from him because this little being thought it was going to get hit by the motorbike. Right. And so it's put its arm up to brace and turned its face away. And then he somehow managed, because it was right in his line, he somehow manages to just sort of skim past it. It hit his boot with its hand. Like he was that close. He missed it he didn't miss it. He actually very, very slightly hit it. But he could see in the headlight, in his motorbike headlight, that the palm of the hand was all dark. It was black hair, dark, very dark skin, but he could see sort of a tinge of redness in the palm. But it was a little Yowie, or maybe a Junjadee, not sure, one of the other beings, the other smaller ones, but sitting in the middle of the road looking at something, doing something, and then all of a sudden he comes hooning around the corner and just misses it by a smidge.
Oh my
Obviously,
God.
he didn't stop because he said, if it's a little one, the big one is going to be nearby and I've almost run over its babies. I'm not stopping. There's no way that I'm stopping here. He waited till he got to work to ring the boys and said, "Oh my God." You don't even when this
Well,
happened.
so happy that he missed the little guy and didn't actually
Oh, so am I. Yes, so am I. That would have been awful. Can you imagine? I don't. If he'd hit it and had an accident, I can't imagine Mama or Papa would have let him get away with that. He might not have made it through the accident if he'd actually made it through anyway.
Yeah.
He probably wouldn't have survived.
Assuming the accident didn't kill him, then they would have showed up and found his motorcycle there and no body and went, "Where's his body at?"
Yeah, there's no body left.
His body disappeared mysteriously.
Yeah.
Lord. Thank God the poor little guy didn't get hit. I heard
Yeah.
another report from down there from a few years ago where somebody was driving a large truck, and I can't remember if it was a dump truck or just similarly sized.
Mhm.
But the point is where the cab was, and he was his eyesight was like about 10 feet up. And he was coming around this corner on a steep mountainside. And here comes his Yowie sliding down the embankment. And he's right in front of the truck and goes wham on the hood like that with his arm and
Yep.
bends the hood as the guy's slamming on the brake to try and not help him. And he looks at the guy and then just walks off the road and keeps going.
Yeah. That Yowie, his nickname is Big Red. Big Red. And he's been spotted quite a few times up there. We've actually communicated with him, with that Yowie. That truckie, that area was the Witherin area, and that's not far from where this motorbike sighting took place.
Wow.
Similar area. That Yowie, that Yowie's reaches out to quite a few people. I've spoken to other people who've communicated with him telepathically, obviously. I interviewed a guy who lived on a property where Big Red used to go quite a lot, and so he saw him quite a few times. And they had this guy is a very spiritual man, and they had a little ceremony with a couple of his other friends, and they called Big Red in. So they had a chat with him, and he was telling them that he originally lived on the coast, and this is many years ago now, and he's sort of moved further inland up into the mountains when the coast became too crowded with humans, and he really missed the fish, and he really missed berries that he used to get down on the coast there that he couldn't find where he was. Quite a remarkable being, this Big Red, actually.
Oh
Yeah.
And another thing that people don't really think about is that there may be, and in fact is, a large difference between how long humans live and how long these guys live.
Mm-hmm.
They live a lot longer than we do.
Yes.
They have a lot of time to observe us and make up their mind about things.
Mm-hmm.
They're not in any hurry to make friends with you or meet you. In most cases, they don't want to meet you. They don't want to know you. They want nothing to do with you. If you're lucky enough that they decide they do want to have anything to do with you, you can bet your butt it's not going to be an instantaneous thing. It's going to take them a while to get a chance to watch you over and over again, decide if they want to interact with you, decide how much they want to interact with you, decide how much they want to interact with any humans. In most cases, that's forbidden. They're not supposed to be interacting with humans, period.
Exactly. And that's why it doesn't happen much here, is because it is forbidden. They've told us it's part of their law. The young ones are not allowed to show themselves to us or communicate without permission.
They're not supposed to be showing themselves to us at all. That's that's why you don't get generally negative reactions from them if you find their tracks or structures or something, as long as you don't touch the structures. Don't do that. That's a no-no. But finding that stuff and then filming it and oohing and awing about how great it is, they love that. But you're not supposed to get them on camera. They get in trouble if you get them on camera. So they're trying to avoid that.
Unless it's planned. Unless it's
planned. They got permission. They want you to get video of them for whatever reason. Who the hell knows?
Well, they're kind of in their own soft disclosure period as well. And so there are strategic times when they're choosing to show themselves to certain people.
That is in fact going on. And through the grapevine from the almighty high mucky muck Bigfoot, recently got information that they have just changed the rules. He did it officially. Anybody that doesn't want to comply, well, you're looking to get your ass handed to you. You better start complying. But basically, what he said at this point is that they've had enough interaction with enough humans that they recognize there are some good humans that you can trust and have interaction with. And they can tell the difference between good and bad humans. So from now on, they're not going to be getting pressured by their peers against having interactions with good humans. The ones that have been having interactions with humans are now not going to be getting pressured by the rest of them to knock it off, which is what's been going on up until recently. Sometimes they're getting killed by other Bigfoot or Sasquatch because they're having interactions with humans and they're not allowed to.
Yep.
Well, now they're allowed to, but they're still absolutely forbidden to having interactions with any evil humans. So any of you guys out there that are, working for the side of evil, forget it. They're never talking to you. The most you get out of them is this.
That's right. That's right. When I was up with my friend, the story I was telling you at the beginning, where I found those glyphs up on the mountain just recently, end of November last year. Mark said, "We've got a young one here. There's a young male watching us," and I said, "I'll tell him to come and say hi." And he stopped and listened for a minute. And Mark said, "Oh no," he just said he's not allowed. He's not allowed to say hi. And I went, "Oh, damn it." Yeah. And it's not the first time we've been told that. We've had young ones around us and they've told Mark, particularly who's very good at communicating with them, that they're not allowed to talk to us without permission from their elders.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all about permission, and their penal system is really not to be wanted. So,
No.
yeah, you get the crap beat out of you at the very least. You don't want. You're not getting probation and a fine. Let's just put it that way.
You don't get it's more than getting grounded, isn't it?
Yeah, grounded as in tombstone pile drived into the ground. Maybe.
Yes.
That might be their idea of grounding you. Tombstone pile driving into the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. One of the other weird stories I heard was this was up in Queensland. There's so many reports up in Queensland. They've got so much forest up there along the coastline. And this guy was in the Wongi National Park. He'd parked his car, gone for a walk, and sort of went off track. And it wasn't too long, like maybe 10 minutes. He's walking along, looking down at his feet. He was feeling a bit troubled that time. He was in a bit of an emotional state and was feeling quite sad and emotional. And so he's looking down at his feet, and all of a sudden he looks up, and there's what he thinks now was a juvenile Yowie sitting on a log. It was still like 6 foot tall, sitting down, but it wasn't. He said it looked like a young one, and it's sitting on a log, and next to the log is a big tree, and there's like a teepee like structure with a black and white cow hide draped over the top. Like a shade. Yeah.
Right.
And there were farms nearby that forest that had black and white cows, which are probably Holsteins or whatever breed of cow it was. But there were cow farms with that same patterning nearby. That's the only time I've ever heard of a cowhide that was being used as a shelter. This little one, well, big little one, was kind of looking at him and then looking around the clearing and then looking at him again and then looking around the clearing. And all of a sudden he thought, this is a child. The parents are going to be nearby. I've got to get out of here. They're not going to be talking to their baby.
Yeah, good thinking.
So he backs away, keeping it in view. And then after he gets a little bit of a distance, he turns around and runs for it. But it was such a strange encounter because the little one just sat there for a start and didn't hide.
Didn't know any better, probably.
Didn't know any better, but there's a cowhide draped over this little teepee structure.
I
And
wonder if they had lost any cattle, or if maybe it was like one of them that died or something, and they just skinned it and took the hide.
maybe I don't know. Don't know. They're not in. They generally don't go for livestock
Right.
because too many missing animals, then humans start getting annoyed, and then it attracts unwarranted attention, unwanted attention, I should say.
Yeah. I know
Um,
Chad talks about that in the area that he's in, where there's a lot of Sasquatch down there, and everybody in the area knows they're there, and they don't ever shoot them or have any problems with them or anything because they don't take their livestock.
Yeah.
They stay away from the humans' livestock. The humans ignore them and let them do whatever they want. And it's like, well, gee, here's a model that we should try and get operational in the rest of the world, so we can quit panicking, let them live their lives in the woods, and just make a deal with them. Don't take any livestock. There won't be any problems. Okay, that's pretty simple.
I have seen photos. People have sent me photos of dead cattle with broken necks.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much that can break a huge cow's neck.
Well, a grizzly bear, but you don't have them in Australia, so
Not
that's
here,
not even
yeah.
an option.
Yeah, there's nothing that can break a cow's neck, unless it takes a tumble off a mountain or something.
Right.
There's not many other circumstances where a cow's going to break its neck, but the photos I've seen, clearly that the neck was broken.
Unless it has a fight with a bulldozer or a train or something like that.
Could be not in that particular area.
We've got actually kind of a terrifying parallel of that going up here in Montana, where there's this one valley. It's all ranchers. It's all cattle ranchers. They've had it for 100 years. There hasn't been any grizzlies there for 100 years. The grizzlies are just starting to repopulate every place in Montana. Now, in the last 15, 20 years, they've been moving into this valley. Not successfully, because apparently who was already living there doesn't want grizzlies there anymore after 100 years. So the ranchers keep reporting to forestry that they keep finding dead grizzlies with their necks snapped.
Wow.
What snaps a grizzly's neck, Mr. Forestry? And it's only in this one valley where all the ranchers have been for 100 years, never have any problems with anything else. All of a sudden, the grizzlies start moving in. Grizzlies are having their necks broken. It's not the ranchers that are doing this.
No.
That's why they're reporting it, because they're like, they can't blame us for this shit. What snaps a grizzly's neck? 800-pound bear, snap.
Oh, that kind of strength is just it's hard to even imagine, isn't it?
They are ridiculously strong. There's one report from a ranger who was working in Yellowstone, and his job was to ride the backcountry with his horse, make sure there wasn't people camping in spots they weren't supposed to be in, or if there was people out there, they wouldn't wander into areas where they get hurt and barbecued in a hot spring or something. So he was checking this one area where there's hot springs out in the backcountry where people aren't supposed to be, and he sees the one hot spring way over there. There's this big blackish lump next to it. It shouldn't be there. He's been here before. What the hell is that? So as he gets closer, he can see there's something leaning against it. And he gets even closer. It looks like a bear. It's a big bear laying there sleeping, not moving for some reason. When he gets even closer, you can see the bear's not moving because it's irregularly lumpy, like something kind of beat the crap out of it. And when he gets even closer, you can see that the instrument of this 800-pound grizzly's demise is an uprooted tree. That's what's leaning against him. And all the way around the grizzly, there's 18-inch Bigfoot tracks.
Wow.
So apparently this grizzly managed to tick off a Bigfoot really bad. He uprooted a tree, chased him out into this open field, and beat him to pace with it, and then left the tree lying there.
So used a tree like a baseball bat.
Yep, just uprooted a tree, used it for a club, and beat him to paste with it. And this matches up with all the old illustrations, woodblock carvings and stuff that they've got, carvings inside cathedrals and stuff. The wood woes, the green man, all the European versions of Bigfoot, they always show him with a big club, an uprooted tree or something.
Yeah.
Same damn thing. Yeah. They don't carry handmade personal weapons around, because when they need one, they just rip a tree out of the ground and beat it a paste with that.
Yeah. In fact, I interviewed a lady from Saskatchewan. Is that how you pronounce it? Saskatchewan in Canada?
Yep.
And she saw a Yowie holding a staff, like a branch, like a staff in his hand as well. But this one actually faded out, like appeared and then disappeared.
Extra creepy.
Extra creepy for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So, do you want any more stories, or
do you have another one? Should we do one more before we go?
Yeah, okay. Let me think of which one I'm going to tell you. So, well, if we're talking about weird stuff, I could tell you about this one's from down in Victoria, at Mount Hotham in the high country, and the witnesses. There were two people in a car driving up in the snow, and they saw a 8 foot plus tall Yowie cross the road. This Yowie was blonde, had long flowing hair, so long and flowing that we've kind of nicknamed him Fabio. Because the way the woman described this, she said he was buff, he was hot looking, he was really, really attractive looking, very athletic, long, beautiful, flowing blonde hair, and he was carrying an old-fashioned cowbell in his hand. Now people don't use cowbells here in Australia anymore.
Right.
So it was really strange. But what was unusual, two unusual things: the cowbell, but the fact that he had long, flowing blonde hair that looked really well kept too.
Right.
Like obviously been looking after it.
Well, some of them actually believe in grooming, and they're not like, with rat's nests in their hair and shit. The females will actually braid their hair, and some of them will put flowers in their hair and all kinds of stuff. We don't see females very often, so most people never get to see that. Yes. But yeah, they're not like automatically dirty, musty, and covered with filth all the time. Some of them try and keep themselves clean. Others of the males think that stinkier is better. Oh, look, a skunk! Let me squeeze it. Oh, now I smell good. I'm going dating.
Yeah. And they do use. We've been told, one of the females that we've spoken to, she comes to my farm sometimes. She shared with us that they do use leaves and flowers and things for decoration in their hair. The females do anyway. When I got married last year, she gave the idea for the headpiece that I wore, that one of my friends who's an artist made for me,
Nice.
out of beads. The design was actually something that this female Yowie gave us. And it was sort of similar to something that they might make. She used beads for mine, colourful beads, but it was in the same pattern as this female Yowie. And she explained that that's how she would have done her hair if they were having a ceremony, like a joining ceremony like that. So yeah,
cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. Like I don't know if there are many people who get married wearing something that was designed by a Yowie.
I know one really hot summer day, it was 102 degrees, and I was hiking around on the mountain here behind me, and I had this smell following me around, and it smelled like hot lilacs.
Right.
Lilac blossoms, only like as if you had walked into a flower shop where it was too hot and it was overwhelmingly stinky of lilacs. And I'm out in the open walking around the mountainside, and it's following me wherever I'm going. There's this female that liked lilacs, and she's got herself cloaked, and she's following me all around the mountain. I'm like, oh, God, it's already too hot. The lilac smell is killing me. Please stay further away.
Well, the lady in Saskatchewan that I spoke to, they were able to project the smell of roses to her.
Mm-hmm.
She'd been smelling something really unpleasant smelling, and she was like, "Oh God, that's awful. I'd rather be smelling roses or something like that." She didn't have any rose bushes at that stage, and the next thing she knows, she can smell roses, and there's no roses. There's no roses there.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
That Sasquatch was a female, and she saw it looking in the window one night. Her friend who was visiting her, it was just her and her friend. She's an older lady, and her friend had just lost her husband and was obviously grief stricken and very, very sad. And she was talking to the lady I interviewed. The lady I interviewed looks up and realizes she can see a Sasquatch looking in the window. Red,
Oh my God.
red eyes, glowing eyes.
Yeah.
And she said she could see enough of the expression on the face that it looked like it was sad, like it was listening to this poor lady who was grieving. And she said this Sasquatch was feeling empathy for this lady.
Right.
Yeah, it was. And those glowing red eyes, the red she could see, she said it looked like little red cones poking out of the eye about 2 inches.
Huh.
So it was projecting light.
Eye
Not
glow,
just-
not eye shine.
Yes, exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
I'm going to have Christy back on the show here again shortly, and she just got a good picture a couple days ago of one of them peeking in her window.
Oh,
And you can
cool.
see his eye glow.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's purple.
Purple. I have not. That's one of the few colors that I have not heard about with regards to eye glow.
Yeah, it's the first time I've seen that too. Usually it's amber, white, red, one of those colors. He's got this one. She knows for sure which one it is, and he's got blue eyes. So maybe that has something to do with how he's making purple eye glow. But yeah, that's a really weird looking thing.
Yeah, someone's even. There was even a report of like an electric blue glowing eye.
Yeah.
Glowing eyes, but I haven't heard of purple. That's
Yeah,
really
I've seen other ones with electric blue. Well, actually, this is of course immediately fascinating to Richard Soul, Knox Gigas project, because that's their main thing is doing nighttime research and trying to get video of eye glow, which they've done. And I sent him this picture, and then he sent me back a picture of eye glow that they got, and you could swear it was the same damn Bigfoot. One's looking this way, and the eyes are purple. One's looking this way, and the eyes are amber. That was the only difference. Distance between eyes, effect, same.
So, and this lady reported that the red glow, when the lady stopped feeling afraid, because she was trying not to let her friend realize that there was something outside the window, and when the lady kept talking, and this Sasquatch is just standing there, and she went, "Oh, it's not going to hurt me." Okay. As soon as she stopped feeling afraid, the red glow disappeared. It was still there, but the red glow. So it's connected to their emotional state, perhaps. But the change of color, maybe they can change color depending on the emotion as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The more agitated, irritated, mad, freaked out tends to make them have red eye color, red eye glow.
Yeah.
And there's other effects there too. I mean, when they're agitated or too excited or afraid, they exude a tremendous stench. That's when you get the stinky Bigfoot reports. Usual Bigfoot don't really smell. You have to be like this far away from them to smell them.
Yeah.
Under normal conditions.
Not all of the reports can report. Not all of the witnesses report that smell.
Exactly, and that's why, because in a lot of these cases, they weren't upset or agitated or afraid, so they're not exuding their big stank. Yeah. The other option now that we were referencing earlier in the show is the one where they're farting on you. Oh, God. Oh, no, that's even worse than their body odor that they can't control. It's way, way worse. This is the one where you hear people going, there was this smell. My eyes were watering. My nose was burning. It was worse than a skunk. It felt like an acid attack. Yes. It was so bad, I quit breathing through my nose. And then I could taste it. That's what's going on with those ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I pray that I never have to smell that.
Well, even the regular stank when they're, angry or afraid or something like that is bad enough. But
yeah,
you can imagine when they're perpetrating chemical warfare attacks on you. And keep in mind, they never signed on to the Geneva Convention, so it's perfectly lawful for them to do that.
Well, people that smell, people report it being so overwhelming that they can barely keep driving or keep walking, like that they're almost incapacitated. It's so bad.
There's people that have been hit with that stank, and it's so bad that it literally knocked them out. I mean, they just went,
Yeah.
and then they'll come to and go, I can't breathe. I can taste it. It's horrible. I can taste it. And the Bigfoot's back behind a tree going, ha, 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 taste it.
That's right. Suck shit.
Taste it, human. Ha, ha, ha.
Oh, funny.
Well, anyway, yeah, totally fascinating. As you know, again, you can draw so many parallels between all of the behaviors and everything that the Yowies down there in Australia are doing. I'm on the other side of the damn planet, and they're doing the same thing up here. They're making the same kinds of structures. It's, there's no way these things are imaginary. You and I both know that they're real. There's still some people out there that think that they maybe aren't real. And, well, you guys have to explain to us how these mythical creatures have the same behaviors, observed behaviors and stuff all over the world for centuries.
Yeah. Same thing. Same exactly the same things from all over the world. It's it can't be just imagination. Like between you and I, how many people between you and I we've spoken to a ridiculous amount of witnesses, and they're all reporting very similar things.
Me, hundreds. Yeah.
Me, hundreds too. I've been doing this for interviewing people for 6 years. So yeah, a lot of people. They can't all be wrong. They can't all be lying.
I've been doing the interviews for like 12 years now or something, and then talking to people way before that and doing field research way before that. And it's the point where there's so much of a pattern, you can almost like finish their sentence and go, oh, and this happened next. And they're like, yeah, how did you know? Because I've heard this story about 100 freaking times. That's how I know. They do the same kind of things over and over again. Yeah. I bet that's when they started throwing rocks through roof. Yeah, how'd you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Or one of my favorite ones were all like, oh, we were just out in the woods camping, and all of a sudden angry Bigfoot came up and chased us away. And like me and Chad right away will go, what'd you do to piss him off?
Yeah.
Well, we didn't do anything. What were you doing? Well, we were blasting music really loud, drinking beer, hooting, hollering, and shooting at a tree. It's like 2:00 in the morning. Oh, no, you didn't do anything to piss him off. You totally didn't deserve to get chased out of their living room.
So for all the listeners, AC/DC is not one of the most popular bands for the Yowies to listen to.
No.
Clearly didn't enjoy the Akadaka played that day.
It's kind of hilarious because in different parts of the country, they seem to have different songs that they like.
Yeah.
Somebody was playing Freebird while he was packing up his campsite because he had heard one. He was scared. He wanted to get the hell out of there. So he's playing Freebird and stuff, and then he was just about the campsite packed up, and he turned the song off, and it started roaring at him. So he turned the song back on again, and it quit roaring at him. Like it wanted to hear the end of the song, apparently.
Yeah, you're spoiling it. Don't press play again.
Oh, okay, I'll turn it back on. When Chad's got down there that hang around with him, they seem to like, bizarrely enough, they like some of the metal bands. They react very positively to Metallica. They like, of all things, Metallica.
That is so strange. That's really strange.
Yeah, most of the time they like, nice, calm, pleasant music. If they're watching TV, they'd be watching like SpongeBob or something like that,
Yeah.
Cartoon theme songs, stuff like that. But no, those ones down there like Metallica for some reason. At least a couple of them do, because anytime he plays it, they're like right up by the house listening, Ooh. Our favorite
yeah,
band.
it's weird. Very weird. I would have thought that they'd prefer higher vibrational music.
I would think so too. I mean,
vibrational.
I usually don't even play music at the campsites that I'm at, and when I do, it's usually like old 60s psychedelic and stuff like that. It's not usually metal or anything, and they seem to react okay to that. But I don't think they really care one way or the other. Honestly, just no way I can tell by any reaction to music that we play.
No, and I've tried when I was with AYR, they would play music and they tried different genres. Sometimes it was just classical music to see what would happen, and sometimes it was music just instrumental with no vocals. They tried lots of different things. I don't think there was any particular genre that stood out as getting more activity than any other.
Right. Yeah, we couldn't see any correlation either in between the different kinds of music that we tried playing out there. And we apparently didn't play anything that they found really annoying because we didn't get pelted with rocks or sticks or anything like that.
That's lucky.
But I mean, really, there's no positive reinforcement on any of it either. It's just like, man, I want to play whatever you want. The only time we got feedback from them is when we were sitting around the campfire telling jokes. And when apparently we told a good joke, we'd get a wood knock. That happened 4 times in one night. Yeah. And finally, the 4th time, I went, thank you. I'm here all night. And my buddy Scotty goes, you heard that one? And I went, yeah. I said, that's the 4th one. He goes, 4th? I missed one of them.
Wow. And you don't remember what were the particular jokes that they were?
No, we were making stupid crap up. I don't even remember what it was, but yeah, about every 4th or 5th joke that we told apparently was really funny and they got it or something. So you'd hear a wood knock, like their version of clapping.
Wow.
And if they're just randomly wood knocking, great timing because they were only doing it at the end of the joke when we stopped and we're giggling. And then you'd hear whack. Oh yeah, that was a good one. There's something most researchers don't try. Entertain the Bigfoot. You want to get him to show up again? Be like a traveling entertainment center. You show up, you tell jokes, do some juggling,
Yeah, play some music, actually play a musical instrument. If you play the ukulele or the guitar or the recorder or something.
That's all about raising the vibrational level too. I mean, if you're happy and everybody's having fun and stuff, vibrational levels higher, that tends to attract them. Other things that you can do.
They don't play musical instruments themselves, as far as I'm aware. So I'm guessing that they would find that particularly fascinating because it's something that they don't do themselves.
Yeah. Well, they can sing and they understand rhythm. They can beat on things and do rhythm and stuff. But as far as musical arrangements like we think of them, they don't do anything like that. So they find it interesting, of course, that we do things like that. And, some of it they like, some of it not so much. But they're like people. I mean, individual people are going to like different things.
Yes.
So the one in your area's taste in music may vary from those that we have portrayed on this program.
That's right.
They'll try everything to see what they like. If they get mad and roar at you when you turn it off, maybe they like it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And according to the Bigfoot Outlaws, don't play any who was Led Zeppelin. Every time they tried playing Led Zeppelin for them, they got a negative reaction and got chased out of the area. So for whatever reason, they don't like Roger Planet and they don't like those other guys.
Funny. Funny.
Yeah, they're serious. I mean, they've tried it before. They're like, nah, every time we play those guys, we get chased out. They don't like their music. I don't know what the deal is there.
I wonder what it is. I wonder what it is.
They don't like Led Zeppelin, but they do like Metallica. Okay.
That's bizarre. I find that actually bizarre.
I think it's just there's a couple of them in this one area that like it for whatever reason. I don't think all of them would like Metallica or something. But yeah, anytime he plays Metallica, they show up and they're all excited. They're right out there outside in the trees listening to Metallica. Ooh.
There's no accounting for some people's taste.
I'm sure Metallica would love that if they found out there's actually Bigfoot fans down in Louisiana listening to their music, really liking it.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I think we pretty much covered everything, didn't we? We were going to get on the show.
Yeah, and it's almost an hour and 50 minutes, so that should make a good show.
Yeah, we got plenty of stuff. Well, when I add in more video clips and pictures and stuff too, it'll be even longer. So there you go, folks. Another appearance by Sarah, the Wonder from Down Under, who is here for her second appearance. and giving you guys some updates on the lovely Yowie population in Australia, where they have to be careful where they step all the time because everything's poisonous. Everything, even birds are poisonous.
Yep.
Birds, plants, lizards, bugs,
Fish.
everything's poisonous. Fish, yeah, everything, literally everything in Australia is poisonous. So,
Yeah, and it all wants to kill you,
and it all wants to kill you. Exactly.
especially the drop bears.
Exactly. Yeah, you look out. Don't think that just because it looks like a koala, it's actually a koala. No, it's a vicious drop bear.
That's right.
You got a Mac 10 in one hand, a meat cleaver in the other one. He's hanging out. I remember about 10 years ago when that was really hot and heavy, and everybody was trying to make drop bear memes all the time. And it was like so hilarious. And then I got a meme that said, "Oh, we've got actual bears here," and it shows a black bear jumping off a tree branch and flying side kicking some hunter in the head. Full side bears.
Very dangerous, those drop bears. You got to watch out for them.
The blood drinking drop bears of Australia.
That's right.
I think that's what happened to the oh geez, what's that other cryptid down there that you guys used to have?
We've got bunyips.
Bunyips, that's it. Yeah, the drop bears ate all of them. It's ecology out of control. That's why you don't see bunyips anymore. Friggin' drop bears ate all of them.
Just ate the whole population.
Gone.
Extinct.
Yep. Just like the manatees here in the US, something ate most of them. They're all gone. That is totally not true. Okay. Well, anyway, on that happy note, thanks for being on the show again. I'd like
pleasure.
to extend the offer for you to be on the show yet again, because that would be really good.
Be delighted. Anytime you want me back, just let me know and I'll jump in. It's
I'm
been
sure-
an absolute pleasure.
Sure, my guests would love seeing you again. And just so you guys know, upcoming here, I've got the year-end wrap-up with Kelly Shaw of all the cool stuff that RMSO did during 2025. And I have another show coming up with MK Davis where we are going to be talking about, and I got this on video, what appears to be the U.S. government nuking a dragon. Dun, dun, dun! It's really old video.
Wow.
But it's actual video of a nuke test. So, holy bleep. And that episode will also feature stuff about the giants that live in Death Valley. No, that's not scary at all. Of course, if you're in Death Valley and there's giants there that want to eat you, not scary a bit. But all kinds of really creepy stuff about the American Southwest. MK is going to come on and cover some more of that. And then who knows what we got coming up after that. I still need to make arrangements with Jimmy Church from Fade to Black to have Jimmy on the show again. And in case you guys are wondering, the episode that I recorded for Gaia TV of Beyond Belief has not come out yet. I just asked them the other day and they said, probably another month or so we'll have that one out. So you got that one to look forward to. Also, at the same time I was there in studio, I recorded an episode of Cosmic Disclosure. So I'm on Beyond Belief and Cosmic Disclosure. So if you can find those, they're coming up. Enjoy. Talk about, I show some of the giantest Bigfoot structures ever recorded, and also talk about the Genoskwa, which most people do not cover. So it's fun, interesting stuff for you guys to check out. And meanwhile, everybody out there, be careful. You know the basic drill. Don't hug the Yowies either. And we'll see you back here next week.
So make sure that you're kind to everyone. Safety first, last, and always. Pay it forward. Don't be mean to people if you don't have to be. Don't flip off the mountain giant. Don't poke Dogman with a stick. Don't punt the puck, would you? And for God's sake, whatever you do not hug the Wookiee.